Greetings, coders. So strings are made by double quotes, and then you can even have double quotes within double quotes. This is a string with quotes, or we could have an empty string. There are other constants that are used throughout. We have these are single character, a space, a new line, tab, backspace, etc. Numbers are supported, and you have numeric constants such as integers, reals, rationals, and even complex. You have booleans and then characters, which make up strings. We've seen that before. Symbols start with a single quote and are different than the literal. They work almost somewhere between a constant and a variable. And then lists are another data type. They are an abstraction for collecting data. All we're saying here is that a list is Scheme's version of an array, except it's enclosed in parentheses. So for characters, if we want to put a character in some way, we have to use hash mark or hashtag and then put in /5 for the character that we want and a and so on. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but if we wanted to check, if you want to check something, there are quite a few operators that are built in that will do that, and they end with a question mark, which means they will return true if they're true. So this returns true if the object passed in is a character. So if we do char5, what will this do versus char question mark hashtag 5? And so we can see it returns false for this one because that makes a number versus true, this is a character. This checks to see if the characters are equal. And if they are, then it returns true. So we'd have false here because large A is not equal to little a, and then large A is equal to large A. Another useful operator is we can check if a character is alphabetic. We can also check if an integer is, we check if the character is an integer. I'm sorry, these, when it has the arrow in here, this will convert a character to an integer. The arrow means that in terms of nomenclature that it's going to convert. So we're going to take an integer and we're going to convert it to an integer. We pass in a character and it returns that integer representation. We have integer to char, which goes the other way. And that brings us to strings. A string, just like we're used to with C strings and the string in C++, it's just a group of characters. And so we can also check if something is a string. So we have the string question mark. And if we passed in the hashtag R, which is just a character, it would return false. Whereas if we did the double quotes cats, it would return true. We can also do a simple is equals string. So they're both going to be strings. If they equal one another, the question mark saying that it's going to return true, false. And so it will check if they're identical. If not, it will return false. So we have string here, a is false, whereas cats is true. String length returns the number of characters in a string just like we're used to. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. We don't need to add a null or anything. It tracks the strings itself. That's an implementation detail that we don't have to worry about. And then we can add to a string. We can concatenate strings by using string appends. So string append cats are awesome. Cats are awesome. String ref will return the X character in a string. So we can get the characters from string. This would be the equivalent to using our square brackets in C. We can get a substring. It will return for a particular string the characters between the provided indices. Lists in Scheme are very similar. However, one of the differences with lists is that everything does not need to be the same type. Every element can actually be different types. The thing that makes lists different as well is they are defined with parentheses. So we have a list like this is contains 3 items. This contains 3 items. These are all different, as are we have a string, we have a list within a list, and then we have a fraction. Now, when we see lists or when they're represented or when they're printed, we will see them with the parentheses and the things in between, the items contained in the list. Unfortunately, if you try to define a list this way, it'll treat this as the first one as an operator and then try to use the following as operands. So to define a list, we have several different ways we can do that. Unfortunately, we cannot define a list using just purely this format. One way to do it is we can use the quote operator. So open paren quote, and then we give it the list that's space delimited. Or we can use a single tick and it becomes a symbol, and then it'll define the list properly. Or we can use the list operator. So this would define a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, which is equivalent to single quote, open paren 1, 2, 3, 4, or list 1, 2, 3, 4. As soon as we define the list all within the same construct, it's going to treat them all the same. I'm sorry. As soon as we define it with the single quote, it's going to treat it as a list, and that includes everything within it. Okay, so we've seen the define keyword in a couple examples so far, but let's talk about it a little more in depth. With define, we have variable name that we define and then an object. An object can be a literal, a variable, or a function. So we could define pi, this for the rest of the run of the script. Pi will be equivalent to this value. Similarly, we could do radius is 10. So define the radius as 10 or just radius equals 10. Then we can define a function. Define radius square. We multiply radius times radius. As radius is defined up here, that'll work. And then we can multiply later pi times radius squared. This should be a little interesting. We are not passing in any parameters, but we're using essentially a global, even though it's not truly explicitly a functional programming concept, but we're using it here. We use this predefined variable and then it outputs it. We end up with the result. If we want to change a variable after it's been defined, we can use the set keyword and set. So we use set with this exclamation mark, and then the exclamation is used to denote that the function that is being executed will mutate the variables that are coming in. So if we define radius again, and then we do set radius 20, it changes the radius to be 20. When we use define with a function, it creates a static result. This means that if the values are all known and there's not a parameter, it binds the name given to the expression. So in this case, when it defined radius square, from then on, radius square will be equal to 10 times 10 or 100. So even if we did a set radius here, we would be used to, if we called radius square again, that it would now be 400, except that's not the case. It'll be 100. So this definition of that function where it's using known values at the time it's defined will cause it to be static. Now, if we reset it again, and then we ran it, then it would change. Begin is handy, especially for those of us coming from procedural and object-oriented world. It allows us to make a single object multiple statements at once. Otherwise, we can only make multiple statements by embedding them within each other. But begin allows us to have multiple statements at once. It's super useful when we want to print stuff out, and it just is followed by these objects, and typically the last one is going to be the result. Here we could do begin with display 10, new line, and plus. Could have this in some other place, but without the begin keyword, we could not have all of these values. And since display doesn't return anything, this is very useful when we want to use display or new line. Here, the display 10 is right here, and then we see 30, and that's the result of executing this line of code. It's returned back. That's it for this video.